The BP Corexit Cover Up and the $4,300 per barrel motive. My name is Rick Lacey and I'm a former BP Senior Financial Analyst. I worked for BP in its American headquarters building for 8 years in the 1990s. Shortly after my last promotion, I developed a financial model that brought me to the attention of the BP Management Committee. As I began interacting with the real decision makers at BP, I came very quickly to understand that the company I thought I knew was an illusion. Much like BP's commitment to the Gulf, or its investment in America, or even its safety is at the heart of everything we do, or the latest, BP's commitment to America has never been stronger. Behind the illusion, those who control BP are completely dedicated to one thing: the pursuit of excessive profit. That's it. BP means big profits. Big profits are the heart of everything they do. Once you understand that simple fact, you're well on your way to understanding BP. Okay, keep that in mind. BP does not care about you, me, safety, the Gulf Coast, the U.S. Olympic team, its customers, employees, or anything else. Big profits, nothing else. We're not going to focus on the spill or events leading up to it. When I left BP in 1998, I wrote a novel warning the country that these types of events would be happening at BP facilities, due mostly to the mindless and short-sighted cost-cutting. No one read that book. My warnings went unheard. A series of tragedies occurred around the world, including the Texas City refinery explosion and the mother of all disasters, the Deepwater Horizon blowout, or as BP likes to call it, the oil spill. Anyway, the courts have finally ruled that BP's gross negligence caused the spill. There are plenty of books out there documenting the particulars of that gross negligence. Basically, BP cut corners in its single-minded pursuit of what? Big profits. We're going to focus on the BP Corexit cover-up. This is not negligence, but a premeditated and deliberate crime against man and nature. Within days of the explosion, BP made the decision to lie about the size of the spill and pump Corexit down the wellhead on the ocean floor to mix with, disperse, and hide the oil. Any oil that failed to mix with Corexit and disperse would be sprayed with Corexit once it surfaced. The problem with the strategy was that the Corexit would eventually kill everything it came in contact with, from the tiniest sea creature to the cleanup workers and the Gulf Coast residents. As it turned out, approximately 170,000 Americans, including 45,000 cleanup workers, came in contact with BP's toxic Corexit. Most of those people will sooner or later experience health problems, and many will die before the age of 50. How do I know that? The same way BP knows it. They used the same chemicals to clean up after the Valdez oil spill, and those workers all died. Few lived past the age of 50. You might find a couple still breathing, but nearly all are quite dead. Dead in spite of the fact they wore protective gear the Gulf Coast workers didn't get. Most thinking people who hear these things from me are inclined to dismiss what I'm saying. They reason that no sane company would deliberately cause the early deaths of so many American citizens. Just think of the consequences, the lawsuits, the liability, and the eventual punishment. Those costs could run into billions of dollars. BP has since offered to pay $60,700 to anyone falling ill in the first 2 years. But let's use the worst case scenario. If BP had to pay $100,000 to every one of those 170,000 people, that would cost the company $17 billion. Certainly, BP would not engage in a criminal act that could potentially cost it $17 billion. Or would it? Well, the simple answer is yes. BP admits it did pump and spray 2 million gallons of Corexit. Cleanup workers and Gulf Coast residents did get sick and die. Many more will get sick, and many more will die young. There's no denying those sad facts. So, why did BP do it? BP is all about big profits. One of the primary methods of obtaining those big profits is to reduce costs. Let's go back to April 26, 2010. It's been 4 days since the explosion, and BP has just got its cameras back down to the wellhead. BP executives watch oil spewing out of the Gulf at a rate of between 60,000 and 110,000 barrels a day. BP engineers knew this at a glance. The BP decision makers know the company will likely be fined $4,300 per barrel. They don't know how long it might take to cap the well, but their best guess is probably very close to what actually occurred, since they did know all the variables. Their worst case scenario is probably 100 days. It took 87. BP likes round numbers. Okay, let's do the math. $4,300 per barrel fine times 110,000 barrels per day equals $473 million per day. Per day. $473 million per day. Now, BP is going to take 100 days. $473 million a day times 100 days, $47.3 billion. Now, the question gets very easy. Would BP risk a potential liability of $17 billion to potentially save $47 billion? The answer is unequivocally yes. The net savings to BP from the Corexit Cover Up was projected to be $30 billion. Framed another way, would BP knowingly cause the early deaths of 170,000 Americans and risk killing the entire Gulf of Mexico to save itself $30 billion? Yes, you saw them do it. Now you know the motive.